All right, here we go. Pale Tooth Gorge, just a reskinning of Green Tooth Gorge. Apparently, Injured, you made this map. As far as I know, it's functionally identical, but just has a different look, just to mix things up a little bit. I don't know if any of
Kind
the
of identical. The assets between the themes aren't consistent, which is quite maddening, but it's pretty much the same. Not unbalanced in a way, hopefully.
yeah,
I didn't
expect
actually
any.
know they were allowing it in the tournament.
I'd expect any change would be pretty small, like just maybe a change in where certain pieces of cover are.
Yeah, there are actually some items in Green Tooth Gorge which don't provide cover and don't provide a shot block. They're just there, which is a bit odd. So they've been replaced.
All right, and I'm holding us up on the loading in, but I'm gonna get there eventually. There we go.
And he's got Tech Marine. Holy Hammer has already put one away, of course, for Techs.
All right, the Tech Marine. So went random, got the Tech Marine. Looks like he's just going to go for those quick resource points, going for that requisition and the power. We see Tax and Shooter Boys. Nothing too unusual yet, except he's actually running past the requisition and going for the power. I've seen that a bit before from some other players on Green Tooth Gorge. I guess just getting a little more power income a little bit faster. And Holy Hammer
Assuming
actually
we're going to see, assuming we're going to see the hammer from Hammer, and perhaps a mastercrafted bolter this time because Tex didn't get it, and we all pretty much felt it would have been a good choice for him.
Yeah, I think it's a good choice for. Can be used in a number of ways, whether it's controlling the Slugger Boys by suppressing them, could even be used against the War Boss, although I think a little better against the Infantry Squad since you'll also get to bleed one of the models.
Maybe he'll throw a curveball and go for a melee Tech Marine. Could be effective if we see Storm Boys with bionics and all of that awesome damage absorption that his shield gives him. Warboss going after scouts here, gets a hit, but they will take the garrison. Here come Tactical Marines to shoot him up, but he should be able to decap.
Well, at least
Shield
gets the
Boys capping mid.
He can just tank that range fire while he gets that cap off. Being very aggressive with that War Boss, but Toil Elite also capturing, kind of returning the favor. Going to decap Holy Hammer's natural, maybe even get a full cap on it.
Should be able to get a full cap. Warboss getting a bit low and retreats. Perhaps Angry Bits to get in amongst Tactical Marines quickly, I think was always a pretty decent idea, but I'm a big fan of Boss Pole myself.
That Angry Bits War Gear has been looking really good. I think it's, not that I'm an expert on the War Boss, but it's probably a decent choice in most matchups. Just allowing him to get in a little faster. Also allows you to disrupt more, so it can be used as a melee counter, although that won't really be an issue against Space Marine, certainly not with this build and this hero.
Tech Marine might choose to shoot up one of the generators. No, he's coming mid to help out. The Tactical Marines are a bit isolated here. Here comes Sluggers and double shooters on their tail, and big shooters are up, so they can be suppressed, allowing the Sluggers to get in. Maybe we'll see burners this time, because Holy Hammer pretty much forego them in the last game, I think, against Texas. Tech Marine gives them a couple of power weapons and a small health increase. I think 15% now, and they're only 20 power. Or is it 15 even? I'm not sure. Tactical Marines suppressed, and here come the Sluggers, but they retreat.
So Sluggers need to get out of there. Tactical Marines getting low on health, but I think they will just get in. Force melee from both the Tax and the Tech Marine will definitely win over those Shooter Boys. As much DPS as they were putting out, and Toilet Lee not even losing a model on his Tactical Marine squad. So a little bit lucky and also well managed. Toilet Lee keeps the field presence. He's getting the better map control. He has his scouts down here. He's going to be able to capture some of these southern resource points. And also
Devastators and Looters. Looters, of course, huge buffs for them in Elite. Pretty much buffed across the board in everything. A lot of players coming from retail still try to stick to the old Orc play of double shooters straight into tier 2 and Weird Boys and stuff, but they have a much better balance tier 1 and Elite with Looters a lot better. And the Pain Boy, of course. We haven't seen Holy Hammer use that guy yet.
Oh, that Looter squad these days feels like basically like a Shuriken cannon in terms of both its damage and suppression. I don't know the exact values, but it seems to just perform very well.
Here comes the Tech Marine. This is risky. Looters at short range but they are shooting a Devastator, I think, and a Tech Marine gets in. Slugger's in retreat.
He's gonna go down there.
Some grenade scouts might be handy to try and get in and flank the looters, throw a grenade, and send them flying. What is this? It's the War Boss. Holy Hammer always does this. He uses War Boss to just cap for the entirety of Tier 1 almost.
We saw that also earlier from Steve, but against Asmon, and it actually worked out very well. And I think one of the reasons it's working out is that there's just a lot of ranged firepower, a lot of different sources that can focus down the War Boss. And he might have a little trouble making a difference in fights. And to the extent that he can, I think it's best that he's in this position where he's isolated. He can actually come in for a flank, and he's actually in a good position to flank the Devastator that's pinning a lot of Holy Hammer's orcs right in front of his base. Although instead he's just going half up the middle.
Needs to try and judge where that arc is. The Devastators are actually moving now, and he gets rid of those Tactical Marines. Did they take down a generator? I didn't see.
And he will get the flank on that Devastator. So that going around backcapping with the War Boss is working out pretty well worked out very well for Steve, but looks like it's working out well for Holy Hammer.
And we do see burners up on those sluggers up to 690 hit points now at 1, but forced off by the scouts. We have double shotguns. We do not. No sign of Storm Boys. The first time we've not seen him get Storm Boys, which would have been devastating versus the Devastators, pretty much. Even if you retreat, as soon as they jump, they can whack them with all those power melee attacks on retreat.
You have something like 3 or 4 seconds to get them out of there, or they will get wiped. And even if you get them out alive, you're still going to probably lose at least 1 model, if not 2.
367, 487 is a 1-to-1. War Boss still on capping duty. He's going to be really angry with that come Tier 2, I think. Flamer is up. Let's see what it does to these double shooters. Looks like Holy Hammer's not going to let that happen. Suppresses them. Here come the double scouts moving in. Using scouts in battle quite a lot early on Twilight Elite. That would have been an awesome time for a grenade.
Keeping them around those rocks, sort of blocking their line of sight to them so that they don't take much range fire. Although one loses a model, needs to retreat out of there, and the one that's on the field does not have the shotguns.
Relatively quick Tier 2 for Twilight Elite. Maybe we'll see a quick Dreadnought or something, which would be awesome. Triple gens up for both players, and where are the looters? They are infiltrated in mid. The only setup team that can infiltrate by themselves, of course. Huge advantage that they have over the others, especially since they're buffed across the board in late. Tactical Marines down to half hit points, need to be careful, but we are not seeing the Bang Bang Hammer or in fact anything for the War Boss yet. But those burner sluggers are still pretty dangerous.
I think these Tactical Marines need to be careful. They're being kept on the field, even at very low health. Lose 1 model. They are force meleeing the Shooter Boys, but they're probably going to start losing another model. All right, he does retreat them out of there. Luda's actually low on health.
Being harassed by the scouts, but scouts lose a model. War Boss just ignoring them. He's going to go back to the west side and try to see off the other scout squad, I think. 367, 438, 2-to-1 for Holy Hammer, who's floating a lot of resources here. A lot of wreck in a way. Looks like he's saving up for Tier 2. Twilight Elite already there and has a decent amount of power on the board. Almost 100. We might see that quick Dreadnought.
Yeah, he could have already gotten a Razorback, although it looks like he might be saving up for that Dreadnought. Either one could work, although the Dreadnought definitely a little bit scarier.
It is a risk though. We could see a Beamy and a Power Claw instantly putting a lot of pressure onto that Dreadnought. We'll see what happens. Does the Tech Marine have anything? He doesn't.
And of course, Holy Hammer going to be getting into Tier 2. He could get Tank Busters for just 300 requisition, and that will give him another source of AV. And there we go. We do see that Dreadnought.
Awesome. Hopefully he'll keep it melee. Love me melee Dreadnoughts, but I'm guessing he's going to go for the Assault Cannon if he can get the 30 power.
I'm guessing that too. But at some point, Twilight Elite lost one of his scouts, and he lost the shotgun scouts. I think from these Shooter Boys flanking the Devastator probably also took out those scouts.
That is painful. He's surely going to replace those shotguns, but no sign of it yet. 349, 427 scouts coming to the west side to cap, and Twilight Elite might get a triple here, unless those looters start capping mid. No, here come sluggers, I think, to cap it, and these Tactical Marines are going to get shut down by aiming what's that, and now the looters. Dreadnought hitting the field. I don't think Holy Hammer's going to be expecting this thing. He's not even tier 2 yet, will be momentarily, is hurting for power only, 30 power, plus 49 though. Surely tank busters. No, War Truck.
Hoping we'll see maybe some colorful language out of him once he sees that Dreadnought. But it's been pretty back and forth for the most part. Toil Ali is having better map control over the resources on like his northern side of the map. And obviously he's also had the VP lead. Dreadnought about to walk right into this infiltrated Luda squad, is upgrading to that assault cannon. So will be very good against the shooter boys, especially with that assault cannon barrage.
Yeah, Holy Hammer's going to need to keep his shooters split up. Does he have Knob Leader on both? He does. That's going to help their durability, but still very, very dangerous for them to deal with. Warboss again on capping duty, and look at the requisition. Holy Hammer's flowing almost 1,000.
I mean, certainly with that much requisition, you could easily just, hey, there we go. You could easily field a squad of tank busters and then still have enough to make some kind of other purchase.
Plasma cannon for Toil Ali. I always thought there was a slight imbalance on this map because Toil Ali has this awesome ledge right outside this garrison that you can put a setup team on and cover the VP. You don't really have that when you are
I think that's
on the south side.
Of being on that side. Because, I mean, even if you put a Devastator plasma cannon on that southern side, it's not on a ledge, so you don't need to jump up to get it.
Toil Ali now pressuring the west. Looks like he's going for a power ass. Tactical Marines still with that flamer and that sergeant now. Beamy Death Gun is up, taking chunks of health from that Dreadnought, but here comes the barrage and he's just retreating out of it. Rocket barrage from the tank busters as well. Look at the damage the Dreadnought took already, and this thing is not weak. 1,200 hit points out of the gate, and Flamer, I think he's going to wipe this gen farm. Holy Hammer might not even bother to try and defend it with that Dreadnought there.
On the other side of things, we see shooters getting destroyed by plasma cannon shots.
Ouch. Is he going to go for the ledge?
Right.
Looks like he's not at the moment. 286, 4112, 412 even. It's a 2-1 for Holy Hammer, and that gen farm does go down. Warboss looking increasingly angry and goes for the Power Claw. 95 DPS, heavy melee, twofold. Will help versus the Dreadnought, will help take it down obviously, and of course tie it up so it can't shoot that assault cannon. Goes down to 73 heavy melee DPS and no splash if you give it a ranged weapon.
And then also that Power Claw will just be good against everything else. Definitely bleeding TAC models. Take like one of those TAC models out pretty quickly, so long as he actually gets in on them, but he seems to be derping a little bit. There he gets a hit. Does not kill a model, but still a very powerful weapon, effective against pretty much everything.
Sluggers with their Knob Leader now almost level 2. What's going on east side? Scouts on capping duty. Did they get shotguns? They didn't. Toil Ali obviously confident he can deal with Sluggers and Warboss running at him.
He doesn't have too many actual melee counters now, aside from, I guess, basically the Devastator Marines. Doesn't have the Emperor's Fist ready on that Dreadnought. Does not even have any Tech Marine Warriors either. And a second Dreadnought. I've seen Toil Ali do this before.
This might be a very big and important engagement. Devastator setting up both of them, but here comes Sluggers and Plasma Cannon shot out. Dreadnought taking tons of damage. Warboss getting in. What is he going to go after?
Tank Busters got interrupted in the middle of their barrage for a plasma cannon shot, but they just got up and started doing it again. Devastators go down for Toil Ali.
Ow, tactic went down. This second Dreadnought might not be such a good idea. He has nothing to stem the tide of these Sluggers now at all. Maybe
pretty much keeping that Dreadnought alive with Blessing of the Arm Messiah.
Surely a Master Rocket Bolter or something for this Tech Marine. He could suppress the Warboss, stopping him from getting into melee so easily.
Ooh, good reaction to not walk right into that Tank Buster barrage.
And here's the second Dreadnought. I think he's going to keep this thing in melee. No, he's going for the multi-melter. Good damage to all targets from short range.
Tank Busters, I think they just barely survived. They must be in the truck, but they almost got wiped from that plasma cannon shot. And yeah, we have a multi-melter Dreadnought. I've seen him do this build before. Double Dreadnoughts, one with the assault cannon, one with the multi-melter.
I really would have kept that thing in melee, but we'll see what happens. He, of course, now has 2 Dreadnoughts to tie up, and the Warboss might go down in retreat, and does. And there is the inspiration going off. 261, 368 is a triple cap for Holy Hammer. Perhaps should push through the mid try and decap some of this northern stuff. But he's sitting mid so far. Tank Busters reinforcing off the war truck. Dreadnought looking dangerous, gonna come and shoot the crap out of this war truck. Look at the damage from that multi-melter. One more shot and it's gonna go down. I don't think it has 100% fire on the move, but I'm not sure.
Unfortunately, the Dreadnought now a little overextended, taking beamy looter shots, taking Tank Buster rockets, and another
Big
rocket
mistake
drop.
there. He infiltrated his looters, so they weren't firing on the Dreadnought automatically. Could have taken it down. Warboss still down. Still no Wargate at all for the Tech Marine. He's level 3 as well.
Well, he's a little low on resources. Certainly, if he got something, it would be useful. Because at this point, he's basically like a tac squad that doesn't bleed in terms of the damage he's doing, and that can also repair. But there's just a lot more he could do if he actually had some kind of war gear.
I'd like to see him in melee, try and get in there, mix things up and tie stuff up and bionics the crap out of stuff. Warboss has been repurchased and Devastator's on the way. Tank Buster barrage on the Tactical Marine's head, but they get up there alright.
Double Tank Busters now to deal with double Dreadnoughts. One Tank Buster squad per Dreadnought.
That's a serious amount of AV on the field. As I kind of knocks back the Warboss. What's going on the east side? Dreadnoughts, what are they up to? Are they flanking? 261306 is a 2-to-1 cap for Holy Hammer. Double Tank Busters backing off slightly, and here come the Dreadnoughts, and they're going to meet them head on. Look at the damage they do.
Now, I think Holy Hammer, he took the shots with the Tank Busters, and then he moved them out of there because he wanted to avoid maybe the Assault Cannon barrage. And he's still doing that. He's like kind of taking shots and backpedaling. They still get hit by it though, and it's absolutely devastating.
Def Gun doing serious damage. Tactical Marine's now tying it up, and this Dreadnought is in peril. Down goes the War Truck though. The Dreadnought might be able to get away. No, down it goes, and those Tank Busters.
A Dreadnought for a War Truck is not a very good trade, especially not an upgraded Dreadnought.
Swamp Sluggers chasing down Tactical Marines who walk around the Dreadnought a bit slowly, paying respects to it or something. Because they're kind of getting shots off again on the Sluggers. User choppers not helping them stay alive, and they get back up and run away. 261 300. It's a 1-to-1 cap. Death Dread now for Holy Hammer.
Not a bad choice. Toilet Lee doesn't have as much AV as Hammer does, and between the two Dreadnoughts, he killed the Melta Dreadnought, so the Assault Cannon Dreadnought won't be as threatening to the Def Dread, at least not at range.
You might see a Melta and Orbs Tech Marine, which is awesome AV, obviously, and we could see Vengeance rounds for the Devastators, which still allows them to suppress if you want to.
Yeah, of course, the Tech Marine is certainly himself not hurting for AV options when it comes to his war gears. We still haven't actually seen anything.
Another barrage from the Dreadnought just clips those Tank Busters, but they were right. Here comes the Warboss and the Death Dread, and I think this is too much for Toilet to handle. The Warboss retreats though. Couldn't get too close to the Devastators. Dreadnought, Death Dread even in combat, and an awesome special. Look at the knockback strength on that special attack. That was ridiculous. Wow. 261 300. Tank Busters down to one model. Beamy is set up, but not set up facing the Dreadnought, who's now going after the Death Dread in melee, who turns around, takes it on, has burners and bits. But it's going to go down here because these Tactical Marines now have a Sergeant, 255 300.
Death Dread does do more damage in melee than a ranged Dreadnought, but the Dreadnought has more health. The Dreadnought also had support.
Scouts coming out still with no upgrades at all, just used a cap, I suppose. Dreadnought being chased by Sluggers of all things.
Blessing of the Omnissiah again. Now, if he just left the Dreadnought in there, the Sluggers could actually potentially wipe the Dreadnought just because they do so much damage, even though it's just melee damage. They just have such a high base damage.
239 300. Finally getting some Assault Marines on the field to help him very quickly shut down those looters, I suppose.
So Red Rupee is very satisfied with this game. I guess seeing some good Tech Marine play, and yeah, basically. I can only assume. But yeah, that Assault Space Marine squad, interesting to see a late Assault Space Marine squad, but it will hard counter pretty much all of Hammer's AV except for the War Boss. And the War Boss by itself is generally not enough to take on Walker.
Especially without an armor upgrade and level 2. 239, 291. Are we going to see a triple? No, we're not, because the Assault Marines are decapping mid. Here comes the War Boss, but he's hugely outnumbered. Devastator's suppressing him just on the edge of the firing arc there. There's a Tank Buster barrage right on the Devastator's faces. But they're alright.
And now the Tank Busters get jumped. Holy Hammer just instantly retreats them so he doesn't take any bleed. Beamy Luda can still start taking shots at the Dreadnought though.
You've got to think that Holy Hammer's... Is he... No, he's not saving for tier 3. He's going for another Death Dread.
He likes to do that. I personally don't think it's the best choice. Clearly he's a lot better than me, but...
Oh, he's cancelled it. He's cancelled it. Just going to say, if Assault Marine's got a Melter Bomb as well, that Death Dread wouldn't have lasted long. He's going for the War Trucks. Going to need to keep that thing well back to support his infantry. Here comes Sluggers going after that Plasma Cannon, which has got some good shots in. Halfway through level 2 this thing. More Devastators for Twala Lee. Triple cap though for him too.
It's been a tier 2 slugfest, but Twala Lee now with a triple cap. And this is also splitting up some of Holy Hammer's shot. Holy Hammer's using his Tank Busters to help force off the Tactical Marines. I don't think that's the best utility for his Tank Busters. Probably could have scared them off just with the War Boss by himself.
Hasn't used that ledge yet. 178271 War Boss on capping duty on the west side. These double Tank Busters bleeding a reasonable amount, but they have been reasonably effective as well. Really good Dreadnought play by Twala Lee, you have to say, has kept this thing going. As it leveled, it's level 3 this thing. 1452 hit points with a ranged weapon on a Walker is pretty scary and not easy to deal with. Assault Marines back at base, reinforcing. 152271 looking reasonably good for Twala Lee, and a Death Dread is on the way now.
And I think since Twala Lee is not in tier 2, probably not going to get there anytime soon. He's been using most of his red on Blessing of the Yam-Messiah to keep that Dreadnought alive, especially when his Tech Marine or the Scouts aren't too close to it, or when they need to break off somewhere else to do whatever they need to do in a given fight.
Twala Lee might want to put a bit of pressure on this west side, perhaps bring the Devastator over sheepishly and bully things with these Assault Marines. War Boss backing off for some reason. Not sure he's scared of Scouts. He's not going to live that down. Death Dread is up. No burners and bits though. Slugger's going after the Tech Marine who still has nothing. Yes, he's level 4. And he's trying to fight them with his left hooks. But it's not going to work and he's going to go down here in retreat.
If only he had Bionics. We do now have a las cannon on one of those Devastators. Ooh, this is actually not a very good situation for Twala Lee. I think he will at least take out the Death Dread, but he really needs to be careful with his own Dreadnought. He does scare off those Tank Busters though, using the Assault Cannon Barrage. Death Dread does go down.
I like this late Assault Marine squad. It's really helping Twala Lee. Down goes the Dreadnought though. I was just about to say it's really helping him bully those Tank Busters and keeping them guessing about where they are, but the Dreadnought does go down. That was awesome play by Holy Hammer. Triple cap though.
The Truck Busters, as they were called once a long time ago, doing their job, but triple cap for Twala Lee. Only 57 VPs left and War Truck goes down. I think that's probably the end of this game. We'll see.
Death
Something
Dread number 3. What is this?
This has to be a drop pod, I guess. Just a drop pod. I think. Oh,
yes.
Yes. Reinforces the Assault Space Marines right before they were about to die. So that was actually perfect
by Twala Lee. And these guys can now reinforce off of this thing. 24 it's looking like it's all over triple cap. Assault Marines just about getting away. Those Sluggers did incredibly well. Level 4 these guys. And the Assault Marines go down in retreat.
Wow.
Holy Hammer might get a triple. Can he pull this off?
Wow, so a lot of stuff just went down. Maybe Holy Hammer is not out of this game yet. I have the bad habit of calling things a little too early. But Holy Hammer still in this game. Twala Lee still in tier 2, and his hero is down.
The third Death Dread is marching comically to the middle. This thing looks really ridiculous when it's walking. Scouts in melee with Tank Busters. That's a good fight. Epic stuff. And they do have shotguns now, these Scouts. There's the shotgun blast, but the War Boss had already grabbed one. and flung him aside. Here comes Tolali now with a pretty weird army composition, a lasgun, plasma cannon, and tactical marines. That's a stomp, in fact, by the War Boss. Thought it was a special attack, but he's just holding up Tolali now, keeping him off the VPs, and meanwhile, the looters are decapping stuff. 12, 220 is a triple cap for Holy Hammer, but if Tolali can get out and cap now, he could take this game.
Yeah, I guess the looters don't have much purpose at the moment. There's only even like one generator that they could destroy. Other than that, at this point, they're basically going to be a capping unit. This Death Dread, I liked in Dawn of War 1 when it was called the Killer Can. I wish it was still called that. I like that name a lot more.
That's actually a different unit, I believe. A Killer Can is a different thing.
Yeah. Wish they had the Killer Can instead.
185. Yes, the more walkers, the better. Red Rupee getting a bit too excited about the Killer Can, I think. Here comes Sluggers.
It's just a funny name.
Scouts trying to cap, and they're going to get absolutely...
Grenade?
No, they aren't. Grenade to save them. Awesome play by Tolali. Lasgun getting shots in from long range. Is this going to be the third Death Dread to go down? Missile hits. One more Lascannon shot. No, it stopped firing. It's out of the firing arc. And the Tech Marine gets a gruesome death.
Tech Marine.
Death Dread's going to walk into its doom, though.
Yeah, Death Dread is dead.
1 to cap, 12, 1 to 6, 9. An awesome finish. War Boss now with Angry Bits. He's level 6, and the 4th Death Dread is on the way. Plasma Cannon setting up. Another War Truck as well. No reinforced plating for this one, though. Scouts coming out to shotgun blast the War Boss. And look at the map for Holy Hammer. He might come back and do this. It's a 2-to-1 cap.
Wow, there I think he just scared the Plasma Cannon Devastator off. He didn't actually have anything in his war truck, but just driving close to the Plasma Cannon actually scared off the Plasma Cannon. Did not want some sluggers to come out of it.
And they shall know no fear my arts. Hightailed it the hell out of there as soon as they saw the war truck.
So this porky truck.
Getting a bit low. Here comes Sluggers. These Sluggers have been epically good. Level 4 for a while now. Lascannon trying to get shots on the Sluggers, which is not going to work. War Truck does have the reinforced plate. A beautiful grenade by Tolali, the second pretty decent one we've seen. And the Devastator's wiped out. Tolali struggling now. Rebuys his Tech Marine, still absolutely no war gear. I think that was a trick that he missed. These Sluggers, since that Devastator went down, have been absolutely devastating to his entire army. Mastercrafted Bolter and Bionics would have really helped out. There's a double cap for Holy Hammer, and there is the concede by Tolali. Holy Hammer takes it.
Now, I don't know if this is still supposed to be an exhibition or if these are actually counting. If it does, right now 1-0 Holy Hammer.
Tolali still with a superior unit score.
Certainly, I'm guessing he killed more units. Yeah, way more.
Oh my gosh, that was ridiculous. Tolali gets 2 dreadnoughts, and Holy Hammer says, "Oh, you want to play the Walker game, huh?" And totally turns it around with 4 Death Dreads and 2 tank buses.
Just keep sending